So hello and welcome to today's video. Now if you're more of a Rockstar Games fan, you'll probably remember they have more franchises up their sleeve that aren't just Grand Theft Auto 5. And in today's video I'll be taking a look back at some of Rockstar's forgotten franchises, aka most of their games which haven't had anything new for many years now, and we'll take a look as to why some of these games haven't had anything new. And we'll start off the video by covering one of Rockstar's more controversial franchises, which is Manhunt. Now the Manhunt series as a whole has a very rocky history. And when I say that, I don't mean the games are bad, because they weren't. Manhunt does have a dedicated fanbase and both games were well received by many who played them. But when I do say rocky history, I mean how it was received by both the media and politicians, as both Manhunt titles seem to generate much more controversy than Grand Theft Auto ever did, as it did show off a bit more in the violence department, and the first Manhunt was brought to light and ultimately became a nightmare for both Rockstar Games and Take-Two Interactive following the murder of a 14-year-old boy in England when police discovered a copy of Manhunt in the killer's bedroom. And Manhunt 2 didn't exactly fare any better because it ended up getting banned in many European countries too. Now for what it's worth, they were apparently going to be making a third Manhunt, which was starting development in 2010. And this one apparently was going to be a PlayStation 3 Move exclusive, but it didn't fare far into development and was scrapped very early on. And the entire franchise hasn't really been heard of outside of a PlayStation 4 re-release of the first Manhunt all the way back in March 2016. Nothing for mobile or Xbox One, and even then Rockstar haven't been arsed enough to add Manhunt 1 and 2 to their own PC launcher. So it seems like Rockstar quietly want to forget Manhunt 2 ever existed. But it's not all doom and gloom, because in the files for GTA Online's Cayo Perico heist, there are files for a Manhunt arcade machine, complete with sprites. But it is unplayable due to missing scripts, so we might see something new from Manhunt soon, but not in the traditional stealth-fun kind of way, but more in a side-scrolling beat-em-up 8-bit kind of style, it looks like. So don't be surprised if in a future GTA Online update you will technically get the first new Manhunt release since 2007. So now let's cover the meme itself, which is Midnight Club. Now to be honest, I think one of the major reasons we haven't seen any new Midnight Clubs is because of licensing issues. Now unlike Grand Theft Auto, where all the cars in the game are pretty much inspired off real life ones or parodies of them, you have cars based off stuff like Tesla, Aston Martin, Fisker, etc. Midnight Club tends to use real brands, like Volkswagen, Ford, Chevrolet, etc. And brands are very expensive to license. Secondly, and I know this will piss off some fans, but I feel like Midnight Club as a whole just ended up getting semi-merged with Grand Theft Auto Online. Like, why bother paying for licensing when you can just use the GTA 5 cars, which already do bear an incredibly close resemblance to their real life counterparts, and you already have a big ass map to do all kinds of racing on. Now even then, on PC, Midnight Club wasn't really a thing, and Rockstar went ahead and removed the only Midnight Club which made it to PC, which was Midnight Club 2, all the way back in 2018. For some reason I could not find anything about, they never actually made an announcement, so you cannot even buy Midnight Club 2 legally anymore. In fact, the last time Rockstar ever mentioned Midnight Club was in June 2018. So that's nearly 3 whole years without it ever being mentioned, not even as a sale announcement. That, and to be fair, Rockstar do seem to be a bit more focused on open world sandbox instead. Like if you take a look at their PS3 and 360 lineups, the sandbox games really did take centre stage. So on the topic of sandbox games, L.A Noire is a bit of a tricky one because it wasn't originally a Rockstar game at all, because it was made by Team Bondi but published by Rockstar. But Rockstar did acquire the rights to the series from a now bankrupt Team Bondi while they was making Grand Theft Auto 5, Red Dead Redemption 2 and Bully 2 for the 26th time. So it kind of makes sense for them to completely shelve this new IP they have while they're hard at work on other projects. And for what it's worth, L.A Noire actually hasn't had it too bad compared to the other games I mentioned in this video. Like Rockstar did a remaster for the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One and the Nintendo Switch, being the first Rockstar game on a Nintendo platform since the late 2010s. And they even used L.A Noire to test the waters of virtual reality. And as I'm making this video, the only time they tried virtual reality, where they used an admittedly stripped down version of L.A Noire as a base for PlayStation VR and the Oculus Rift. I really feel like we will see L.A Noire again sometime in the future, because there's no way would they do a remaster and a VR port if they didn't have some kind of idea for the series. And I also feel like an open world sandbox game where you play as a detective or a police officer instead of a hardened criminal would go down well. And I just want to reiterate that's nothing to do with like the political situation in America, because I'm talking about there's an entire community of GTA 4 and GTA 5 players who play nothing but the LC/LSPDFR mod, which is a really in-depth mod where you play as a police officer and you basically play through the eyes of what a cop usually does. So I think a possible L.A Noire sequel could definitely be appealing to those kinds of people for sure. Now another game that came out at the same time as L.A Noire is Max Payne. Well, Max Payne 3 should I say. which came out all the way back in 2012. And Rockstar have been really silent about Max Payne as a whole, like barely anything has come out about the series. Like, they've not even made the third one backwards compatible on the Xbox One, which I think is the only 360 era Rockstar title to not be on the Xbox One. Imagine being shafted for a glorified tech demo. Now the closest thing we have got to anything Max Payne related is Rockstar putting the first game on PlayStation 4 mobile all the way back in 2016. But Max Payne 2 and 3 have remained dormant for nearly 20 years in Max Payne 2's case. Speaking of that, I really don't think Rockstar actually care for the Max Payne franchise at all, because when Max Payne 2 was brought to Steam, it was discovered that Rockstar took a pirated no CD crack for the physical version of the game, rather than alter the title themselves to remove the DRM. This was only discovered and changed when some data miner found a pirate group's signature in there. That, and the last time they ever spoke of Max Payne's name was on March 30th 2018, in a sale announcement. If you want to know the last time they mentioned the series, excluding any sale announcements, you'll be going all the way back to December 29th 2016, where they posted about a fan remake of Max Payne 1's intro recreating Grand Theft Auto 5. I do believe we will see Max Payne 3 coming to the Xbox One and Xbox Series X in the future, because for what it's worth, Microsoft have stated they do want to continue their backwards compatibility program, but they did temporarily suspend it due to the Series X, so there might be some hope for that at least. But honestly, I can't see Rockstar making a remake of Max Payne 1 and 2 or putting Max Payne 3 on the PlayStation 5. I do have some serious doubts about it. In my opinion, a remake of Max Payne 1 and 2 would probably be welcomed by most Max Payne fans, but as said, Rockstar really seem to neglect the franchise. I think it's way more neglected than even Manhunt is, to be honest. Now let's get onto the one that this channel is best known for, which is Bully. Now Bully as a whole I feel is the most likely to come out, based on all the titles I mentioned in this list. And I'm not just saying that out of bias because I am a Bully based channel, I'm saying that because that, unlike every other game mentioned on this list, it's been in development at least 3 times already. Now you could say 3 times, and it's been cancelled 3 times, surely that must mean they're struggling, and you're kinda correct on that because they were. So first off, back in 2008 they wanted to do a story which was carrying on Jimmy's story of him going to summer camp, which was then cancelled in 2010 for undisclosed reasons. It was then picked up again sometime in 2012 or 2013 where they had a lot of internal troubles on what to do. Some of the team really wanted to carry on Jimmy's story, and possibly the 2008 stuff or something new, and the other side of the team really wanted to take Bully in a new direction, new protagonist, new setting and all that, completely absent from the original Bully storyline. And then it was cancelled again in 2017 where we know nothing about that yet other than it was canned. So it could have been picked up in 2015, 2016, something like that, I don't know. But the fact they have tried multiple times shows they really want to get a sequel to Bully out, coupled with the fact they bought out merch for it too, which they haven't for Manhunt, shows they really want Bully to be a series, but they're just really struggling on what to do. But that's it for today's video, thank you for watching and have a great day.